Hello, welcome back to MFWoodShop. I got 5 more mini projects for you today. Nothing too aggressive, just real simple and real easy to do. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first one I wanted to show you today is a propane tank and map gas storage. Just using a couple pieces of 3-inch PVC pipe, and I now have a place to store my tanks. Down here at the bottom on this scrap piece of PVC pipe, I have a place to store my tank torches. So that's the first one I want to show you. Let's get busy.
So the first thing I needed to do, cut off a little bit of PVC pipe just to get the inside dimension, and I just trace that out with a pencil. And then I take the back to the chop saw and chop off as much as I can, and leaving me 2 square pieces to take over to the bandsaw. Double-sided tape those 2 pieces together, went over to the bandsaw and cut pretty close to the line, and then I took it over to the sander and brought it right down to the line until it fit inside the PVC pipe. I pre-drilled 4 holes for some screws. I would normally just use epoxy for this, but I was just out of epoxy, so 4 screws will hold this in just fine. Now I need to drill out 2 big holes on each one of the tubes, and then drill out 2 smaller holes for the screws. The big holes so I can get the drill driver inside it.
So on this I drew a couple big holes to get the driver in, and then a couple small holes for the screws. I already got a couple screws already started in there. So all I need to do is drive those screws. Easy.
This piece was an afterthought. Made the tube the exact same way. It's just the leftover piece of the PVC pipe, and this holds the propane torch. So the second thing I want to show you today is this drawer. This drawer has worked out great. I've had it in here for about 2 weeks in here now, and you know, it's real nice to know that if you're missing something from the Kaizen foam, you know where it goes and it's easy to put in. I added the second tier with some 10-inch slides. Now note on the slides, there is a design flaw by using the slides. You can't get your fingers in here and release those slides to remove that drawer. I didn't realize that until I was all the way done, but in my case, I think I'm going to be okay, at least for a while. And if I actually have to, I can pull this all the way out, drill a couple holes right here and on the other side, press that pin and release this drawer from the slides. But I don't think I'll need to. I think it's pretty well designed, or pretty well laid out, so I don't really need to. So let me show you how I built this drawer. So I started this project with finding out what size slides I needed to use. I decided on some 10-inch slides, and that'll give me enough space for front and the back of the drawer. Then I ripped down some scrap 1/2-inch plywood, the size of the Kaizen foam that I ordered, which was 1 1/8 inches. Now I cross-cut those. I cross-cut 2 long pieces, and then I cross-cut 2 short pieces to form a drawer. Once I got all those pieces cut out, ready to go to assemble the drawer, I assembled with glue and staples. So on the bottom it's just a 1/4 inch piece of plywood cut to fit, and I glued and pin nailed this in place. Again, this is going to be plenty strong enough for what I'm doing. I installed the slides to the drawer, assembled the slides on the drawer so I could place that inside the drawer and figure out where to mount the other half of the slide. So once I got that all situated and screwed down, I put the drawer in, and this is where I pretty much realized that you can't take that drawer out. So this is what I come up with. I put Kaizen foam up at the top and placed, these are the 4 layout tools that I use the most. So that's why I got those at the top ready to go. The next tier down are the ones I use quite often, but not every day. And then back here, I haven't quite decided on the layout back here. That's why they're still loose. But these are the ones that I don't use that often, but they still come in handy for certain situations. So that's why they're back there. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. And that Kaizen foam, you just can't beat it. So this is the third project I want to show you today. Very simple. Just turned a handle, put it on a 1/2 inch piece of copper pipe. Copper pipe's about 7 or 8 inches long. And what you do with this is you heat up the end and you can press it into your Kaizen foam to create finger pulls to get your tools out easier. And let me tell you, that just works perfect to get your tools in and out a lot easier. And I've done it on this tier and this tier already. So let me show you how to build this. The first thing here I needed to do was to get a couple boards glued up together to create the handle. Handles just makes it a little nicer. You don't necessarily have to have it, but it does make it a little nicer. Usually when I'm doing these glue ups for turnings, I just throw a couple pin nails in there so the boards don't slide around, and it's just a little easier when you're trying to square it up to put it on the lathe. Once the glue's dried, took it over to the table saw and squared up a blank. Now I mounted it in the lathe and just created a handle that's pleasing to my hand. I keep thinking I was going to create a handle that I can use universally throughout the whole shop, but every time I make a handle it comes out different. This one was just a simple shape and it fit my hand quite nicely. I need to create a hole to put the copper pipe in, then I'll glue that pipe in with Gorilla Glue. Again, I would normally use epoxy to glue a tool into a piece of wood or something, but again, I am out of stock on epoxy. I didn't go all crazy with the sanding and finishing. I just a quick 220 and then a friction polish finish. I did burn a little decorative detail in the top part of the handle. So here's a little finger pull tool. That copper pipe is 1/2 inch, and it was 12 inches long. I cut it down to about 5 inches right here. I've already tested it. When you heat this up, and you don't have to get it very hot to make it work, it only gets hot to about 3 inches down. So this should give me plenty enough room and not worry about the handle catching on fire or anything like that. So only thing I got left to do on this is to clean up the edges here because they're pretty sharp, and I'll do that over the little belt sander. So what this tool is for is you heat up the edge with the torch, and you can create these little finger pulls in your Kaizen foam. So you just press that down in there and it kind of melts the foam, and you press that down on that side, melts a little finger pull to get your fingers in to grab your tool. So I've already done this one and this one, and I'll show you on this one and this one. This one probably don't need it. Yeah, it would help. So definitely this one, and I'll do one here as well, just to show you how this works. And it don't take a whole lot of heat, so don't overdo it. I'm gonna get the tool out of there first. So maybe the first 2 inches or so, it's plenty enough. Maybe 15 seconds worth of heat. You just simply press that right down in there and create yourself a finger pull. That's all there is to it. Slide your tool back in. Now you got your finger pull to get your tool. Now the fourth one I want to show you is just upgrading this curtain hanger. Before I just had this chintzy little piece of crap curtain hanger, and I hung my clamps up to it. Well, the clamps are too heavy for this chintzy thing, and really at the time that's all I had. So I upgraded it to a piece of conduit, and I made the brackets to fit pretty easily. I put little caps on the brackets so it can't, fling off or anything. And I can actually take it all the way down pretty easily to get to the window or do anything else. Now the cardboard's only up here just for the camera purposes because it's pretty bright outside, especially with the snow on the ground. So once the camera's off and everything, I'll remove the cardboard and put it back to the normal window. But let me show you how I did this. First thing I had to do is get rid of the clamps and this nasty old curtain rod. That curtain rod was there just temporary, even though it's been there for about 2 years. I reused the old brackets. I drilled a 3/4 inch hole to hold the conduit that I'm going to use, and then I took those 2 pieces over to the bandsaw, cut a little notch in it so the conduit can slide through the top. I remounted those brackets back in the exact same spot and put the conduit right back into the slot. Now these are little caps to go on the end so the conduit don't slide off the brackets. And then I just, off camera, I turned a couple knobs, and then this is milliput that I'm going to force into the end of the conduit so it don't slide away. Put everything back together and put the clamps back up, and I'm all finished. So the next thing I want to show you is just a couple drawer organization ideas. And this one is dedicated for my router bits and my router accessories. The front part of this drawer is my router bits, obviously, and that is a piece of foam that I bought from Amazon that has 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch holes to store all my router bits. Now I got plenty of expansion to add more, and if I have to add another foam piece, I'll put it back here and move this somewhere else. That way all my bits are all in one drawer. But it's going to be a while before I fill that up for sure. Back here is more Kaizen foam. I put the finger pulls in for my router wrenches. These router wrenches are for my big router. And this one here is for my little one that I use all the time. And then my edge guide, I put it right in here. And I still have a little extra room for any other accessories that I acquire. Since the tool, the finger pull tool, is not going to be used a whole lot, I went ahead and put it in the very back of this drawer, and then it's always in a place where I can find it. And I added finger holes for the finger hole tool. So that's what I did with that drawer. The next drawer down, last week I built the Forstner bit holder, and then this time I've added Kaizen foam to the back of it, and I'll figure out what to add to that later using the same techniques for the Kaizen foam and the finger pulls once I figured it out. Now, I don't know if I showed you this drawer or not. I've had this drawer done for a long time now, probably a good 4 or 5 months now, laid with a thick piece of Kaizen foam. These are all the tools that I don't use too often because they're specialized. You know, a pop rivet gun that I use maybe once a year, a tool for making coax cables, coax cable stripper, Ethernet tools up here, you know, some crimpers. And then over here in these bins, all these are little Pringles single packs, and I made little cubbies for all the certain connectors that I have. I got network cables, I got the network boots, you know, crimpers, different color crimping, I don't know what they're called, little collets, I guess, you know, some rivets. You know, that's just what this drawer is for. Tools I don't go to too often, but when I need them, I know exactly where they're at, and they're nice and neat and organized. You know, while we're on this side of the miter station wall, let me just go ahead and show you the rest of the drawers. This one, I got all my hand tools. I got my router, jigsaw, sander, and a heat gun. They all have the quick disconnect cable, so that saves quite a bit of room not tangling up the cords in your drawer. And they all fit in here just fine. This next drawer down is some of the bigger tools. I got a circular saw and my big router, again with the quick disconnect cables, and I don't have to mess around with the cord being tangled up in the drawer. Down here at the bottom, this one's more junk drawer right now. I got a tile saw in here. I got a sander that I use once in a while, a little bit of extra material, and some tubs full of stuff. This is the drawer I just showed you. This one is really for my air tools. I need to do something with this. I haven't decided if I want to Kaizen foam this one out yet. There's a lot of extra accessories with the air tools. You know, you get your chucks, your bits, your collars, and I really don't know if I'm going to use this for my automotive drawer or my air tools, which kind of go hand in hand, but a lot of times I use this for cutting metal out here in the shop. And I love my 1/4 inch air ratchet when I'm working on cars, and from time to time I'll even use this out in the wood shop. So I kind of got a mixture of a little bit of everything going in here. And in the last drawer, I got the keyboard and mouse that run my computer right above me. And then this will probably eventually be my camera and audio equipment drawer. Right now I'm just kind of testing out a couple organizers, and that's where that's been so far. But it'll probably end up with Kaizen foam and end up with my camera, microphones, and all that stuff in here.
All right, thanks for watching. Everything's complete. It's so much better now. The clamp thing above my window was driving me nuts for a long time. Trying to get the drawers organized still from the miter station wall. I've gotten probably half of them pretty well set the way I want them, and then finally finding somewhere to put those propane tanks. So all these little things is going to help in the long run for making projects faster and just being more organized. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time.